You're with the Break-a-Leggers.
And the Little Leggers.
And the Little Leggers are with us this year because we are going to pantomime.
To see this year's Panto,
To
I
see
think is
this
what you were
year's
saying.
Panto at the Wolverhampton Grand.
And
Yep.
what is it, guys?
Dick Whittington.
Dick Whittington. So stick around to find out all of our thoughts.
Find out how many stars.
And whether it's break a leg
Or leg it.
We're in the spirit for a bit of pantomime, bit of fun, a bit
Oh
of cheer.
no, we're not.
Oh no, we're not.
Oh yes, we are.
It's behind you.
It's behind
It's
you,
just
like
there.
our YouTube careers. Really,
There we
is what
go.
it is.
We had a career.
Well,
What is this?
No, well, it's a bit of a hobby. It's an occupation. Anyway, Dick Whittington. What do you guys know about Dick Whittington?
I know a little bit of the story
Okay.
about how this person is either in a town or a city and it gets infested by rats.
It's London
Yes.
City, in fact.
And then,
London has been overtaken.
From what I remember, something happens and they end up in a ship and the ship crashes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That
Bit
does
Titanic.
happen in the play.
Is it Dick
At the
Whittington?
end,
Yeah.
spoiler alert,
Spoiler
Oh,
alert,
no.
tune off now.
I think, doesn't Dick Whittington become the mayor of London?
Yes.
Yes,
he's
I think
on-
that's set up quite
Yeah,
early. It's
it
almost
is.
quite Macbeth with the witches, isn't he told? You are going to
Like,
become
it's your destiny.
It's your
It's
destiny.
your
This is
fate.
what's going to happen.
Following on from their huge success last year, which we loved last year's Sleeping Beauty, check out our review up there. They've got another great cracking cast here at Wolverhampton, including the legendary Sue Pollard of Heidi High fame. Sue is a national treasure. and
She's a lovely lady as well.
She's here playing Queen Rat in this one.
Who else do we have?
Jeffrey Holland playing Alderman Fitzwarren. Jeffrey worked with Sue on Heidi High. He was Spike in that series.
Okay.
Also, you have got Ryan Thomas, ex-celebrity Big Brother winner.
Ooh.
And star of Coronation Street.
Okay.
He's playing Dick himself.
Okay.
And newcomer Aaron James is taking on the role of
Jack, the comedy Jack.
The comedy sidekick. Ian Adams is back in the writing seat for this one. He played last year's Dame and he's back in the Dame role in this one.
Okay.
Also, Julie Payton, do you remember she played Caraboss last year, the evil one? She's back as the good fairy Bobells this year. I can't wait. I mean, like I say it all every year, guys. Wolverhampton Grand Panto is where I fell in love with theatre, and they are also celebrating their 125th anniversary.
Birthday. Yes, it is.
Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
And Daddy's been coming to shows here ever since that first one.
Listen, Lega Simon, so
Oh, so
funny.
funny.
And you've been coming here since 100 years before that.
When it was
Touche.
just fields.
Ouch.
It was nothing but fields as far as the eye could see.
We know whose side Lega Lincoln is on.
2 hours and 20 minutes, including a 20-minute interval, so stick around for our 30-second interval breakdown.
And to the end to hear all of the big Lega and little Lega thoughts and find out how many stars. We've come to the interval, which means it's time for the Break-a-Leggers.
And the Little Leggers.
30-second interval breakdown.
Go! What do you think, little Lega Lincoln?
I really like the set. I think it's really creative.
Creative set. How about you, big Lega?
I mean, I think Julie Payton gets to show off quite a bit in this one. Glad to see a little bit more of her great singing voice.
For me, it's hit and miss. I think there's some really good, sharp, productive moments, but other bits, it's really missing the mark. How about you, little Lega Spencer?
I really like the set, and I also really like the gigantic rat.
There is a big,
at the end.
a ratty surprise, isn't there, right at the end? Anyway, looking forward to Act 2. We'll catch
And here we are. We're back in the warm, the dry, where it's well lit.
Yes, that's the thing about being outside. You've no control over the circumstances that you're in, so you end up wetter than when we saw Singing in the Rain.
We do.
Because we'd be reviewing in the rain. We'll
Reviewing
write
in the rain.
We'll write our own musical, Reviewing in the Rain.
But let's talk about Dick Whittington.
Yes.
Okay. Should we start with the little Leggers?
Let's start off with the Little Leggers, because it's a family show.
It's a family show,
you know,
Leggers.
So, Little Legger Link, talk to us about, just generally, about what you liked. Or
I
maybe
like-
didn't like about Dick Whittington.
I liked the set.
Okay, great. So we're
Set,
off
get thumbs up.
I mean, it's a kudos production, so that set will have been hoisted all around the country for various productions. But kudos, what you're guaranteed is quality.
Yes, I want to know what you enjoyed about the set, or what was it that made it good?
I liked how it was cartoonish.
Oh, okay.
Like anime, like drawn.
Yeah, cartoonish. There's lots of glitter, I think.
Lots of glitter.
There seem to be lots of flying elements giving a lot of perspective. And I think you're right. That's the thing with kudos sets. They are great.
They are.
What else? Little Leg of Lincoln stood out for you?
Generally about Dick Whittington.
Generally. I think...
Tommy the Cat was good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're jumping in with the cast already. Well, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. So Tommy the Cat, played by Jordan Ginger. I mean, clearly a dancer, moved really, really well about the space.
I thought he came across as a really good musical theatre performer. He was confident in his text. He was a great mover and a great vocalist as well. I felt very safe in his hands.
Great.
I think.
Although he's not a ginger cat, despite his name.
No,
Should he
well,
be a
he's-
ginger cat? I
Well,
think
no,
it's
because
Tommy,
his
isn't it?
name in real life is, his surname is Ginger,
Oh, I
which
see.
is a type of cat.
I see what you're doing there.
I see. So you could have played on that. You think if you'd have been in charge of the costumes, you'd have made him
Tommy
a
the
red
Ginger Cat. Yeah,
Tommy the Ginger Cat.
makes sense.
Little Leg of Spence. What were your thoughts about Dick Whittington?
I thought it was good.
Okay, it's a good place to go from.
Yeah.
And which parts made it good for you? Or
I,
who or
I
what?
I liked the Jack.
Okay.
Jack, the character
Yeah.
Jack.
So Aaron James playing Idle Jack, he was sort of, in any other panto, would be sort of like the Buttons character or the wishy-washy character.
Yes.
He's the one that gets the most interaction with the audience.
Yeah.
He's the one that really sort of drives the panto aspects, those typical pantomime themes that, you know, that it's behind you, the skits, the song sheet, although not a traditional song sheet in this one.
No.
We were expected to know the lyrics to I Am the Music Man.
I think everybody knows I Am the Music Man, right?
Well, I'd hope so.
Boys, do you already know the lyrics to I Am the Music Man?
Yep.
Yeah, I think most people
But
do.
surprisingly of all, it's Aaron's very first panto. He's never done this before. And he took to it like an absolute duck to water.
Yeah.
He's an impressionist by trade, and they worked that well into the premise, so we got into the plot, so we got to see his impressions. I've got to say, I think Break a Legger's nomination, guys.
What?
Best supporting actor in a musical. I don't know
In
how
a
we're going to
pantomime?
categorise. We don't have a pantomime.
Oh, we don't have a
So
pantomime.
we'll find somewhere to slot him. But in terms of a debut, I've got to say, if I didn't know it was his first time, I would never know. And I think it's safe to say that
I didn't know. I
he-
wouldn't guess.
You wouldn't guess.
I didn't
Okay.
know.
He's going to be in pantos for every Christmas for the rest of his life.
I think so. I want to know what you enjoyed about Jack. What was it about Jack that made that you pick him out, Little Legger Spencer?
Jack was, in my opinion, the funniest character.
He was funny, wasn't he?
He kept on slipping in things like Elvis Presley this, Elvis Presley that.
Yes, Elvis Presley. We had a bit of Boris at one stage.
Yeah.
Boris Johnson, that was good fun as well. I've got to say though, it's something in the picking of the material. I think the Elvis stuff would have gone over many people's heads.
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
know.
it went over my head.
Yeah, so we were asked as audiences to join in whenever he mentioned the title of an Elvis song. But even now, you guys probably couldn't name me more than 3 Elvis songs. If it's
I
a
couldn't
push,
name one.
you couldn't name a single one.
I think I'd struggle as well.
I would say with Panto, the thing that lets Dick Whittington down is it just doesn't seem to know its audience.
Where is it pitching?
Who is it pitched at? A lot of the jokes only work on single levels. You know, they even kind of allude to the fact these jokes are for adults, and if your kids get them, then change their schools, because it's not written to be multi-leveled. And that's where I found, for me, Dick Whittington fell apart, really, because it was just... The plot made no sort of sense. It didn't work in any sort of clear narrative timeline way. Elements were introduced and then swiftly forgotten about, such as there was a whole line from Bow Bells about saying no one would be able to hear the cat except for Dick. Act 2, everyone could hear the cat.
And again, I'm thinking, did I miss a line? Because
Yeah.
they seem to throw in little lines. What did you guys think of the end of the first act? What happened at the end of the first act?
The big rat.
Yeah, there's like a real big giant, it's
Big,
a real visual
expensive
feast.
set piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the one moment I think I'd remember from this pantomime.
Yeah.
And yet, what happened to it?
Yeah.
I think there was a line later
disappeared.
that someone said, "Oh,
He-
the big rat did it."
He picked up,
Yeah,
Nobody else did.
no one else did.
I was the only one that heard that, and I really listened hard for, where did the rap come in and what was its purpose?
And
there
where
was
did it go?
A throwaway line. Something else that was really missing from the script for this was that it had been written in rhyming couplets, but as a result gave no one an opportunity to ad-lib anything. It didn't give anyone any flexibility. I felt like a lot of the actors were concentrating on so hard on hitting the next rhyming couplet line. I would have liked a lot more flexibility with the text.
It kind of stopped them from just stopping where they were and reacting to what was going on there and there.
Yes, because if you have to worry about rhyming, and that's how it's written, where's your freedom as an artist?
There were times when they did break away from that. For example, who was the baddie? Was it Queen Rat?
Yes, Queen Rat.
Played by Sue Pollard. And she had loads of rhyming stuff, and then a couple of times she'd just kind of forget it, and then she'd come out into the audience for such as hip hip hooray and stuff and talking to the audience.
Yeah, I just found it very uneven, and like I say, I found the script restrictive. Written by Ian Adams, who, I know had massive input on last year's Panto, but it just felt last year so much more flexible and fun and fluid and carefree. I just felt this one was shackled.
It's a real yin yang piece for me, I think, because the production elements I thought were really tight. I thought it was slick. I thought it was fast. I thought there was great talent on the stage. Some of the musical sequences and the choreography, they just part with they're just kind of all sat together on benches and they're kind of moving their hands. And they've got the male and female dancers, a great ensemble of dancers, and they're on a number of the songs, and they're all great. It's slick, but it's not a musical. And on the other hand, I just found really almost a bit at times boring. I was like, oh, God, and I was looking around, and the children were disengaged, and I think it's about
One
where
child sat in
some
front
of
of us
the
spent
level.
more time looking at us than he did at the stage.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
was a
I
bit
noticed
disconcerting.
And I've not seen that in previous pantomimes, and I think it's literally because of where some of it is pitched. It's all about the narrative and the story, or a musical singing a number well, or putting a number out. And
And there was one boy sitting a few rows that ago
away.
That had one of those flashy things. And
Yes,
was more
flashy
interested
things.
in that.
Yeah.
than
fan
the
lights,
show.
and they were turning it on and off every 3 seconds.
Distracting.
And I couldn't.
No, it wasn't that. It was that he was more interested in that.
In his
I
voice.
see.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's a good indication, and that's how I felt at times. I thought, gosh, if I'm kind of beginning to go, then goodness help the kids.
Yeah, let's talk about the musical choices, the song numbers in this, and I've got to say, really odd choices when it came to songs. Very little current music, very old Judy Garland numbers, things that kids just don't care about.
Don't get.
I would say Sue Pollard made a little allusion to being Ariana Grande.
Where's
Give her an Ariana Grande song.
When the songs?
That would have
When
been
the songs?
genius. Give her an old woman doing an Ariana Grande song, sort of a little bit hammerly. I just think would have been a lot more fun than the music and the numbers that these people got. But what did stand out for me and surprised me was Julie Payton's ability, both
Great voice.
as choreographer and as a singer.
Yes.
She did, what was her big number?
One moment in
One Moment in Time. And several reprises, at least it felt like it went on and on, but beautifully
reprises.
delivered.
Yeah, what a powerhouse.
And I missed last year, she didn't get those numbers, and I'm glad now I've seen that element of her. We need to talk about Ryan Thomas in the role of Dick himself, because he's the biggest celebrity in it, arguably, apart from Sue maybe. I mean, I know Jeffrey has done stuff in the past, but he's a lot more current. I understand the appeal of putting in a big name to get bums on seats, but let them have some ability, please.
Well, what did the little leggers think
Yeah, what
of
did you
Dick?
make of Dick?
Anything, or just someone on stage?
It was okay.
I thought that he was quite good.
Okay.
Okay. Quite
He was
good.
quite good.
Yeah.
Painful at times, I found him, unfortunately. Can't sing for toffee.
Yeah.
And
Not
any of
sing.
those moments where there was choreographed music, they made the right decision directorially, well done him, of getting him off the stage. Brilliant. If they can't do it, move on.
Now-
And yeah, if you want a thrill of seeing a celebrity who's cute, young, and current right now,
Tick the
then
boxes.
ticks the boxes for that. If you're looking for talent in a leading role that knows how to do panto, that is able to sing and dance, he knows. He's not stupid. He's not a song and dance man.
I think his
that.
performance skills lie elsewhere. Obviously, he comes from a TV soap background, so he's got those skills where the camera is right up close, kind of get those subtleties.
Yeah.
He was committed, like he was really going for it. So,
Yeah.
you know, thumbs up for that. But is he gonna move the world? No, he's quite wooden.
Yeah.
Dance is it feels foreign to him, and it doesn't quite
I
sit
could just tell he
comfortably.
knew that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could
Yeah.
tell that he knew that.
But I could tell he'd also been directed to set it up to the gods.
Yeah.
And he was selling it big and up to the back of the auditorium. So
Good.
keep pushing.
And
That's
Ian
good.
Adams as Sarah the cook. Ian is a great dame. Like, Ian has got bucket loads of talent. Reminded me of, comment below, in extras, the dad, the stage dad who does Panto every year. Custard. He reminded me of that sort of a character. I enjoyed what he did, but...
Dated for me.
Fat shaming. A lot of fat shaming.
Fat shaming. I could argue there's some other things in there that feel quite out of place.
Yeah, and I know
by
there's a
today's
big
standards.
argument about is taking these things away from Panto, stripping the traditions. He's making them more current and PC, stripping them away from the roots of Panto. But even by 2019 standards,
It felt
homophobia is
uncomfortable.
still homophobia.
Yeah, and so it felt a bit 30 years old,
Felt
end of
a
the pier.
1970s production. And do you know what? For those purists of Panto that want that sort of thing, they're going to get it here at Wolverhampton. If they're lamenting about games being played by women and that's alienating to you, then come and see this one in Wolverhampton because it is proper retro Panto.
I do feel as if the whole Panto will appeal to people of a granddad and grandma generation.
Yes, more
as
so
opposed
than
to
the kids.
parent generation and even kid generation.
Yeah.
Even at the end, it was great that Sue Pollard and who is it,
Jeffrey Holland.
They kind of
Reprised their roles.
their Heidi High roles.
Yeah,
which was great.
As Peggy and Spike.
And there was a certain age group that got that.
Yes.
And there were many that were like, what's
Who
going
are these
on?
people? Why is this
Why
relevant?
are people clapping?
But
Why are we doing what we
Simon
want to?
told us what Heidi High was.
Yes.
So we
Got it.
Kind of knew.
Yeah, but you wouldn't.
I've forgotten word.
But without that information, you would have been even more alienated.
And it's just about the pitch,
That bit,
I think.
But that bit when they came back as Peggy and Spike honestly made my heart leap. Like,
Yeah.
I was brought up on Heidi High. I remember it all through the late 80s and early 90s as a prefix to things like the Generation Game. It would be on before that. That's sort of a low era. And just seeing them back in those costumes and seeing Sue characterise herself as Peggy was worth the whole Panto for me in that 5 minutes of her doing that.
Great. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Let's round it up.
Unless there's anything else anybody wants to say. No? Okay, so how many stars are we going to give Dick Whittington, which is currently playing this Christmas season at the Grand Theatre in Wolverhampton?
We are going to give 3!
3 stars for this,
Yeah, it's sort of
please.
like it's okay, it's fine. There's a couple of real questionable moments in it, but like I say, for the Panto inverted commas purists, and by that I mean people stuck a little bit in the 70s, they will love this. They will love this Panto.
Yes,
There's no denying that.
You can't doubt the production, you can't doubt the pace and the energy and the attention put into the piece, but in terms of its content, it just misses the mark for me.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
But you know what? As ever, it's just what we think, right?
Oh my goodness, that's what I think.
Yeah. What's more important, guys?
What?
Yeah,
What
we
you
go there.
think?
Yeah, what
We
you
got
think?
there. A little bit of a lead into that. Let us know down below. We would love to hear from you. If you want to see more of us and more family reviews, maybe you want to see more of the Little Leggers, then what do they need to do?
Subscribe!
Subscribe. Also, we're also over on Instagram, so
We
follow
are.
us for all sorts of behind the scenes sort of stuff over there. We're the Breaker Leggers.
And the Little Leggers!
And the Little Leggers.
And we'll catch you again soon. Bye! Hills are alive with the sound of music.